Hey everyone. Today I'm going to be talking about veganism and basically the story that I have, talking about benefits of it, whether that's through animal welfare or the environment, and posing some questions, using some science, some statistics, and basically then going through like myths or criticism that the vegan ideology gets often, and kind of putting those to the test and analyzing those. And then I'll be doing a wrap up. So first, I want to start with my story. I've only been vegan for 8 months now, and it's as I'm recording this August. So I basically converted. It sounds like a cult. I transitioned whatever at the start of January of 2025, and I did this through watching documentaries primarily because I hadn't really known much about like veganism at all. I'd known people that were, and I'd known people that were vegetarian as well, but I really hadn't thought twice about the beliefs and the drive behind making that change. And it all kind of came to a head over a winter break. I'm a student, I'm in college, and it was like getting a break and spending a lot of time online, like we all kind of fall in that trap of. And I came across one video just out of interest, I guess. I think it might have been a documentary was the first video that I came across on the subject, and I will be linking three different documentaries that I think are the most powerful in the description of this video. But I think it was Dominion, and I'd also known that one of my favorite actors, Joaquin Phoenix, was vegan, and he talked about it like publicly too, and I think that caught my interest as well. Um, so yeah, I think it all came about through watching videos, and primarily, like I said, documentaries, because you can listen to me speak about it all you want and hear all the information and the benefits, and those are definitely positive and influential things to hear. But I think what really can shift your heart about it all is watching videos and seeing the suffering, just seeing how fucked up the conditions are. And that kind of rewires it. It can rewire you, and it has rewired many of the workers that work in slaughterhouses who have had trauma and been trying to work through that years after they work in those industries. So yeah, pretty much, I've only been at it for 8 months, and I'm not turning back. Pretty, I'm firmly against turning back now, um, and I wouldn't be making the video if I was thinking about it. Um, and so the things that I had thought about was, oh, what is my family gonna think? What are my friends gonna think? Those were probably the hardest things to cope with upon making that decision. And then as soon as I made the switch, I was kind of just very committed and kept the pictures of the things I had seen on the videos of animals, getting their teeth clipped, or their tails cut off or debeaked or dying in their own waste, breaking legs because they can't stand, just some awful things. And so that kind of like vision in the back of my head was like, I think it it wasn't too hard, but finding foods was the real process of like discovering and exploring being vegan. And I think I've definitely come up with some pretty weird meals, and and especially more when I started being vegan. And now, like currently, the things that I like to eat the most are I'll have French fries, I'll have potatoes, I'll have I like fruits, I like to make smoothies, and I like toast, I like bread, I like peanut butter, I like cereal, I like there's a lot of options with milk, as many of you have probably seen. There's almond milk, oat milk, coconut milk, soy milk. I'm probably missing some cashew milk. Yeah. And then there's kind of just there's impossible meats. There's like vegan meats now, which are really good. And they're getting better all the time. And then there's vegan cheeses. I like to have pasta. I like to have I'm like listing them all as I'm saying them right now. But yeah, there's also just a lot of open options to if you go to restaurants, like in it kind of varies on like your geography and like where you're at, but especially in cities there's a lot of options, and every grocery store is having options for you because there's not just vegetables, but there's um, many nuts, there's chips even, there's people I guess maybe might not think about the fact that there's a lot of junk food on a vegan diet, just like a normal diet. But you cut out fast food, which is a really good thing. Um, and I don't eat much junk food at all. So, and I don't think I did before. So I think that kind of translated over. Um, so yeah, that was kind of where I came from it at, and the conversations that I had weren't always like very comfortable to have, but I think if people really love you and they really care about you, then they'll try to understand where you come from, and then you might also get them to make a change too, which is a cool level of influence. So that's my story with it. I think it kind of just stems from a documentary, and yeah, now I'm gonna go into debunking like myths and criticism about veganism, or more so analyzing certain things that are said about a vegan diet, or the ideology in general that don't really stand up under scrutiny or pressure. So yeah, we'll get to that. So the first one of these claims or like arguments that kind of aims to attack or like undermine or criticize veganism is that vegans don't care about civil rights and human issues. And I've heard this. I haven't had too many experiences like in my personal life of people like shitting on me, because I mean I am outspoken in like some ways, but um, I'm never aggressive, and sometimes I don't really bring it up around people uh, that I feel like won't be open to it in any way, and will just kind of be too uncomfortable with the subject to be open about it, or to really talk about it. And I think that's the case for a lot of people, is that there's not really much ground to be made at times, because and I could be wrong. Maybe that level of uncomfort makes people think about it and and actually eventually try to make a change or that kind of thing. But um, back to, vegans don't care about civil rights and human issues, and this is something that I've heard, as I said, um, uh, through videos, primarily through I'll see it on debates. And a YouTuber that I like to listen to is Earthling Ed, and he's super articulate, and he kind of serves as a spokesperson for vegans, for many vegans, because he's very well informed and respectful, and he gives veganism a good name. I think a lot of people have this notion that vegans can be militant, is a word I've heard. Um, but yeah, that claim is just simply not true. For any vegans that I've met, and for myself absolutely included, is that I do care about human issues. I think that's part of being a human too, and I think it's almost like the opposite. I think that statement really is that, that vegans only care about animals and don't care about human issues. It doesn't just miss the point. It the idea that you could care about something that's smaller than you, or that's less competent than you, um, or less powerful than you, or less intelligent, in many ways. Um, Caring for something like that, I think, when if everyone around us had some regard or concern for things that couldn't be of much help to ourselves, in that we could destroy, um, or power over very easily, if we even held those lives and those individuals, with regard and care, then maybe you can imagine how we'd treat people. We'd have a very high level of accountability and respecting each other. And so I think that's an area that could also be influenced there. But yeah, to get straight to that point, vegans don't care about civil rights and human issues. Not true. Maybe that's one that many of you guys haven't heard in the first place, but I had heard that, and I just thought this is bullshit. And I've spoken about things that I care about, like, it's the problems that everyone is that cares about, and it's discrimination, it's sex trafficking, it's war, for me, is a big one, um, and poverty, social inequality, like wealth inequality, social inequality. But yeah, I think that that claim is dead. So let's hop on to the next one. The next claim I'll hear people make is that you cannot get protein on a vegan diet. So first, I'm going to start with a quote here by the Academy of Nutrition and Dietetics. And it says that a well-planned vegan diet can provide all the protein your body needs for optimal health and is appropriate for all stages of life, including pregnancy, lactation, infancy, childhood, adolescence, older adulthood, and for athletes. Um, so that's a credible source that kind of just disputes that idea that you can't have a well-rounded diet and get protein on a vegan diet. And the sources in my diet that I get protein from are chickpeas, beans, black beans, soybeans, edamame, tofu, soy milk, tempeh, which I don't have often, and neither do I have lentils very often, but those are two good sources. Quinoa, rice, oats, and then different nuts, like I'll have cashews, I'll have almonds, peanuts, etc. And to wrap off this claim, I mean, it's already obvious that you can get protein on a vegan diet, and you can get a sufficient amount, as I've quoted. But this idea is so strange to me, like, because if you take it in a very literal sense that you cannot get like protein at all on a vegan diet, I would always just respond with, like, where do you think the animals that we breed, where do you think they're getting their protein from? It's from the plants. So yeah, and while it's not always as concentrated as meat, um, there's an abundance of protein that you can get on a vegan diet, and it's, as I've said, sufficient. And sometimes you'll need to eat more, um, but I've remained very healthy on the diet, and I think people have an idea that it's unhealthy, or that it can't meet your needs, when it has very well for me, um, and it can meet, as the quote, that I think the quote speaks for myself. So we can hop on to the next claim. This next claim this next claim is closely related to the last one, and it's that you can't obtain all the vitamins you need on a vegan diet. And I think the quote also kind of speaks for this one, in that you can be healthy, um, completely on a vegan diet. And the vitamins that you should look out for, that can come from animals more of the time, are vitamin B12, which is not naturally in plants, but the way I get it is through fortified foods like plant milks, and nutritional yeast, or supplements. And I don't take any supplements. I have before, just because I was concerned about it at the start. But I've it's been a smooth ride for me, and I haven't had any health issues. Vitamin D, you can get it from sunlight, fortified foods, or supplements. Omega-3 fatty acids can get from ALA, from flax, chia, hemp, walnuts, algae-based supplements for direct EPA, DHA. I'm not going to pretend to know what all these things are, but I think bottom line, there's ways to get it, and it's not been hard for me at all. Maybe this is making it out to sound even harder than it is, um, but it's been very simple for me. Iron, there's plenty in beans, lentils, tofu, spinach, pumpkin seeds. Plant iron is non-heme, so pairing with vitamin C helps absorption. Hopefully someone that's listening understands what I'm saying. Calcium, leafy greens, fortified plant milks, tahini, almonds. Zinc you can get from legumes, nuts, seeds, whole grains, iodine, seaweed, or iodized salt. So I'm not going to pretend like I know what all that means, and I don't, to be honest, I'm not concerned with it ever, because I think I eat foods that give me enough protein, that give me enough fiber, and meat my needs very well, so they haven't ran into problems before. But if that was a concern for one of you guys, and you were like, I don't believe that you can meet your needs through your vitamins, boom, that's your information. And yeah, again, the quote speaks for this one as well. So let's hop on to the next one. So unfortunately, YouTube was acting up, and what I originally wanted was for this to just be one 40-minute long video, but now it's looking like I'll have to split it into 3 parts. So this is part 1, and then head over to part 2, which will also be, a segment that's like under 20 minutes. Definitely under 20 minutes. And then there'll be a part 3, and then I'll also come on like this and let you guys know when the next part is happening. So thanks for sticking with it. If you're gonna go to the next one, yeah, it's just part 2, and I appreciate it. So thanks for watching.